y'all. Um, I'm so glad to start today. Today is episode 1 of Beauty for My Ashes podcast. And I am so excited about sharing with you how this whole thing came about. This started about 2 years ago when my nephew, Akili Russell, came to me and said I should start a podcast. And here we are 2 years later, after a lot of growth and God's own touch by giving me a beautiful orange rose in the middle of a dirty grocery store parking lot. And just then, I realized that God had given me beauty for my ashes. In trying to develop this podcast, working with my nephew, Keely Russell, and Eric Wilson of Lovely Day Music, they just came out and said, hey, whatever you want to do, let's do it. God told you to do it. Let's make it happen. So let's give a shout out to them for being in the house and taking on this task with me to help as many people as we can help, because that's what it's all about. You can't take nothing to heaven with you but another soul. So we just want to go ahead and just let you know that I've been going through a trial and error period of my life where things could get a lot, I would say, dark and dirty, because, sometimes you're really in the trenches and you don't really know how to get out. And most of us, when we're going through trials, when we're busy and, today's life be lifing, and we're just on the road, we're always going, always seems like we're always tired. But the thing about it is we're just waiting to get to the end of whatever the trial is, whatever the thing is that we're going through. We just can't wait to get to the end and for it to be finished. But I'm here to tell you today, I got good news. God does give you beauty for your ashes. What I'm here to talk about is that during different things, you have to look for those little things of beauty. If you're down, someone can cheer up your day by saying hello while you're walking down the street, and you respond to them and say hello, but it kind of lifts your spirit a little bit. Or someone can tell you, hey, I like your hair, or I like your outfit. Those are little pieces of beauty that God gives you to lift your spirits. And it always seems like he always shows up right on time. And he always sends someone your way to lift you up when you seem like you're in your deepest, darkest hour. Either he picks you up or he gives you the strength some kind of way to help somebody else. I don't know if it's just me, but it always seems like when I feel like I'm at my weakest, God gives me somebody else to help. And in that, those of you who don't know, God blesses us to be a blessing. And so my thing is just to help others see that God is giving them those little bits and pieces of beauty throughout your journey so that you don't have to feel alone. And if you start to look for those little pieces of beauty, God will show up. They are there because God is faithful and he's true to his promises. He does not lie, and he will be there for you always. So in doing this, I wanted to talk about my why. My why is to live an example of beauty for the ashes, because I could be depressed, I could be overly anxious, I could be sad, but throughout this journey, knowing that God is with you, it gives you a better outlook. That's why, even though some of you may not know God, some of you may have a spiritual connection, whoever, whatever, I know that God himself is the one that lifts you up, is the one that gives your blessings. So in this, I wanted to be a beacon for God. I like to say that instead of saying we represent God, I want to say that I represent him to you through me. So that's what we want to do here on Beauty for My Ashes, is just for me to be a living example of what God can do, and pray that he is blessing you through my journey. Who can benefit from this? Everyone can benefit from this. All y'all, near and far, whoever sees this, you can benefit for it just by knowing that God is real, that God has done it for me. If he did it for me, he can do it for you. So just sit back, enjoy this podcast, and hopefully that something that's said or done within it is going to lift you up and help you go a little bit further. I really love you. I really love you, Jesus, because you first loved me. I really love you. Yes, I do. Yeah. I really love you. I really love you. Because you first loved me. My win. Now is the time. Now is the time, because I have been on a love myself journey for the past 2 years. People tend to think, oh, I feel good about myself, I do this, I do that. But truly loving yourself is a whole different dynamic. Truly loving yourself is something that comes from within. And loving yourself, which we will really dig deeper into on our next episode, is a part of what gets you up every day. I used to tell my children all the time, shout out Josh, Jordan, Joseph, and Jeremiah. I used to tell them that when they were younger, your life is all about choices. From the time God wakes you up, you have a choice to either lay in the bed and put the cover back over your head, or get up and be productive. You have a choice to be in your feelings that day, so to speak. Or as people like to say, get up on the wrong side of the bed. You have a choice to do that or say, no, I'm going to be happy today. I'm going to make somebody else smile today. It's all about choices, whether you go get a job or you lay there and not have one, whether you go help your neighbor or you don't answer the door, or somebody calls you and asks for help. You have a choice to sacrifice to help them, or to tell them, no, I can't. And by setting healthy boundaries and giving what you can give, because God wants a cheerful giver, giving what you can, God is always going to bless you in return. So I hope that these little tidbits are helping you. So what the whole thing is when you're loving yourself, it has to be mind, body, and soul. And when you're in connection to that, and God is leading you through that direction, that is what is the basis for this whole thing. You can only see the beauty when you're connected. You can only see the beauty through eyes that are looking for the beauty. You have to be in tune with the things that are happening around you. You have to be in tune with those who may need your help. I always say, when you talk to people, look directly in their eyes, because eyes don't lie. If you're in connection with someone and you're talking to them, don't look at the ground, don't look past them, look in their eyes, because God will tell you in discerning that that person needs help. God will tell you by their body language. You have to be in a place where you look for the beauty. You look for the chances to help. You look for the good choices. You look for the happiness in the whole thing. We know that happiness is man and the world, but joy comes from God. And when you're looking for that, you can't help but be joyous. That is why I sit here today in the midst of my journey, still able to smile and want to help others, because I know that God is real, and I look for the beauty every day. Ever since that rose on Christmas Day, 2024, I've been looking every day of what the beauty is. The beauty is a kind word. The beauty, once again, is someone being a blessing to you. The beauty is you, in the midst of your trials, being able to help someone else. So we just want to be in tune that God does give us the beauty. The beauty can be like in the Bible, when in the chapter of Esther, when they had put the order out to kill all the Jews, and then Esther, at the end of it, by God turning it around and giving them beauty, everyone was saved actually through Esther. By her having God's favor, which she thought in the beginning wasn't a good thing, but God turned it around for her good, and he will turn it around for our good. We just have to look for it and have faith. Faith is the substance of things hoped for, the evidence of things not seen. So if we're walking by faith, that means you take one step, God will give you the next. And some days during your journey, you only can take one step. You really don't want to take no steps, but hey, I'm just being transparent here. Some days I don't want to take a step, but I know that if I do in faith, just take that one step, God is going to add the next one. And when I tell you over the last 3 months, I felt like my life was blown up and set on fire. But through the ashes, we talked about beauty. Let's talk about the ashes, okay? When you burn a fire in your fireplace or you do a barbecue, the ashes are what's left over. We think the ashes are the throwaway. But the thing about it is, God can still take those ashes and let you see that even though everything was set on fire and burned up, you're still here. You still are thriving. You still are living. You still are helping. You still have joy. Listen to me, people. You can do this. You can do this with just a little bit of faith. All you got to do is keep moving forward. Stay focused, because everything outside of what you have going on, the world is still moving. It's still going. So why shouldn't you? Just stay focused and keep moving. Just keep letting God direct you, because even though those ashes may be something that we think can just be thrown away, ashes are used as fertilizer, believe it or not. There is a lady named Ann. I listened to her lesson on the Bible app, and she was talking about how she had burned something up and she was going to throw the ashes away. And her husband said, "Don't throw those away." And she's like, "Why not?" He said, "I'm going to use those for my rose garden." She's like, "What? They're ashes. You're supposed to throw them away." He says, "No, the compound and ashes really are a good base for fertilizer." And so she gave him the ashes. And lo and behold, that spring, they had a beautiful rose garden. So why don't you just take your ashes, plant them in Jesus, and then watch his beauty arise up and grow up in you? I challenge you today to just keep moving, keep looking forward. No matter if you feel like things have burnt up, scrape up those ashes and take them with you. Use them as your fertilizer. And then God will show you what he can do with the little bit that you put out there. Once again, I thank you all for joining in to the podcast today. I hope that someone got something out of it. I hope that someone is helped from it. And I hope that someone knows and sees God's beauty in today. But you got to look for it. Thank you once again to Akili Russell and Eric Wilson of Lovely Day Music. Thank you for my church, which I love, Temple Baptist Church, and my pastor, Pastor Torrey Russell Sr. Dr. Tori Russell Sr. And my whole Temple family. Because of your support and your love, my friends and family, thank you for your encouragement. Thank you for your love. I always wish you God's peace and God's love. And I'll see you next week where we're going to dig deep into self-love. Bye, everybody. Have a good day.